We have just submitted the powerful Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama at the holy feet of Bhagwan. We have to remember every day, whenever possible, his sayings, his promises to us that not a single Nama goes waste. And what is more, Nama is Nami's presence. And what is Nami? The supreme presence, the supreme intelligence that knows everything, the supreme consciousness. It knows all our thoughts, it knows all our prayers. Now, Bhagwan also had said that when you keep chanting the Nama, you don't have to pray separately. And still, we keep submitting the name and praying to him. Why? Because this prayer gives us some peace of mind. It is for our own satisfaction that we keep praying again and again, knowing that prayer has power. Nama has power and prayer has power. No single prayer also will go waste. No single Nama goes waste. So remembering this, we shall pray to the vibrant presence which is at once Nama and Nami. Here we have another story of his Nama's glory. Here the Nama, we shall see how this Nama helps people out of a certain dangerous situation. There were three people, his son, his mother, and his uncle. All the three, right from Tiruvannamalai, wanted to go to an East Asian country. It's a holiday for them, and somehow the son took it into his head to spend a holiday this time in this East Asian country, little knowing what was waiting for him there. So all the three started, and when they landed at the airport of that East Asian country, they found the situation there explosive. From the airport to the hotel, there were thousands of students in groups talking to each other excitedly or shouting slogans. And what was more, there were groups of policemen also here and there. It really looked dangerous and explosive, but somehow they managed to come to the hotel. They took a room, and then whatever they saw on the way began to work upon their mind. The boy said, "Amma, perhaps I have made a bad choice for my holiday. Now it looks as though we do not have any security in this place right now. It's explosive. Any moment, anything can happen, the way the things look. So what shall we do? I don't mind getting out of this country. Shall we go?" Mother said, "Yes, that's what I also think." The uncle also said that. But how to go? Because on the way to the hotel, they were stopped so many times. And somehow they managed to come there. Now how to get out? Again the same problem would occur. But then the time was running out. Then the boy said, "Amma, you people are worshipping a Swami there in Tiruvannamalai, and I've seen you chant his name so many times. Why don't you chant his name and get the work done? Let us see what your Swami has to do." He spoke challengingly. The mother and her brother immediately started chanting, "Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, please help." And within minutes they came down to look for some way out. And there, the counter, they said, "We don't have any taxis here. It's a very, very dangerous situation out there in this country right now. Why did you people come? Anyway, we cannot help you right now." And just when they were saying it, a taxi came and stopped at the hotel, dropping some people, and the driver was there, and immediately these people ran to him and asked. The driver said, "It's very, very dangerous to drive outside there. Any moment, there is no guarantee we would reach the airport alive. Such is the condition. And then he hesitated for a while, but then the Nama chanting, somehow he said, okay. He came forward and said, we shall see. I will take you. Somehow I feel that I can do it. Now please get in immediately. So they started driving, and on the way several times they got stopped by either the groups of the students or by the groups of the government people. It was getting delayed and getting more and more dangerous. Somehow the driver suddenly had an idea, so he deviated from the main road and started to ride through the fields. Very difficult it was, riding, but still it was something they could manage, and somehow they reached the airport. And again, the problem is, are there any planes? People were saying right outside, all the planes were getting cancelled. Looking at the situation, considering the situation of the country, the other countries are refusing to come enter. So they did not know what to do. Again, more and more chanting of Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama. And then when they went to the counter, they said the last plane for Japan is just leaving. If you want, you have to rush ahead. So they bought the ticket and rushed there and somehow boarded. And then they landed safely in Japan 4 hours later. And they found a hotel, and after that they turned the transistor, and the news was something terrible. The government had opened fire upon the students. 1 million of them had gathered in protest against some local political situation. I don't want to go into details of all that. Enough to say thousands and thousands of students were killed that day, murdered. And then the boy realized here, my God, and the hotel, the place where they were staying very near the place of killing, people could not say what happened to them, what happened to the hotel even. So this boy said, oh, your Swami is so powerful. Now we are alive because of his Nama, because of his grace. Amma, your Swami is very, very powerful. And then he accepted Swami and started to chant his name also. So you see what the Nama can do. All the impossibles become possible by the grace of the Nama. Nama is not inert. It is Nami himself. It's a potent, vibrant presence of the Nami. And the Nami is present whenever we chant the name. And Bhagwan has assured us not a single Nama goes waste. And therefore, dear friends, dear devotees of Bhagwan, let us chant this powerful name more and more in order to get out of the dangerous situation that we all find ourselves in today. Let us make our plea to him. Glory be to the holy name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Indeed, a wide variety of problems people face in everyday life, day-to-day life, be it a deadly disease or problem of infertility or unemployment or delay of marriage or chasing lost money or starting an obstinate old machine, etc. Call out quietly or scream Yogi Ramsuratkumar and see what happens. What is more, one doesn't even have to be a devotee of his to do that. His grace is ever ready to step in. That is the special glory of this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Today's story, with which we are starting our evening prayer, is even more special because the concerned devotee called out in utter fright, fear of life, only Yogi Rama, not even Yogi Ramsuratkumar, and it worked. Srimati Tilakavati Amma, a long-time devotee of Bhagwan, is running a special satsang for ladies in Madurai. Tirumadi, Mrs. Lalitha Elangovan is one of the satsang members of Madurai. Of course, they are all very devoted to Bhagwan. Lalitha used to do beautiful handicraft works for Bhagwan and the ashram. And she would bring them every time she comes to the ashram. One day, Lalitha had gone to help her husband in his shop. Mr. Elangovan is running a computer service shop, and Lalitha used to go in the evening to help him with the work. They would stay till about 8 o'clock and then return on a scooter back to the house. Now that particular day, evening, Lalitha was doing an embroidery and some Om figure, as usual, with great love and devotion for Bhagwan, with colored beads. And she was chanting the Nama all the time. But what happened outside, the weather was getting worse. There were many, many clouds gathered. And then this thundering and lightning were going on. This thundering noise was deafening. And what was more, it started to drizzle. So afraid of what would happen, what might happen, Lalitha and her husband started a little early that day, and they were going on the scooter. Because it was drizzling, the road was wet. So her husband naturally was driving slowly. Halfway through the road, just about 5 feet away from the scooter, they saw a lightning flashing across his face and touching the ground with the deafening noise of the thunder. Lalitha was scared, so scared that she was screaming, "Yogi Rama, Yogi Rama." She did not even complete the name, she simply said Yogi Rama. She screamed Yogi Rama. And when her husband heard her screaming, naturally he was also scared and he didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly he turned the scooter away. There was another scooter wala who was coming behind them. He also heard a scream and he saw Lalitha's husband turning the scooter away, and immediately he repeated the gesture. And then they looked up and saw about 6 feet fire right in the middle of the road where the lighting had descended. And they knew instantly, had not for that Yogi Rama which she screamed, they would have been there right in the middle of the fire and probably charred to death. And then they realized how Yogi Rama, their beloved Bhagwan, had saved them at mere calling out. What could have been a terrible killer accident turned into something very light. It stopped with the shock of that, but they returned home safely. So this again proves how Bhagwan's Nama, even half of the Nama, can save lives. So, dear devotees of Bhagwan, let us all chant this powerful, efficacious Nama more and more and offer it at the feet of Bhagwan with a prayer. We have been extremely fortunate that we could chant this blessed name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Yogi ji used to say, blessed are those who utter this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, even once in their life. So such is the glory of the name. He used to say, a beggar like this comes only once in 500 years. So there was one child by name Godavari. She used to come there, and after hearing this, I was flabbergasted. I taught this child to repeat it in a way Bhagwan would repeat it, which delighted Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan no end. So he would ask her to repeat it again and again, and sometimes he would clap his hands and peals of laughter would flow from him, cascading laughter. And he said, Devaki, Godavari knows who this beggar is. And then he would ask her, Godavari, you know who this beggar is? She would smile and then say, God. He'd say, oh, where is God, Godavari? She'd say, here. She will show her tender hand towards Bhagwan and then say, here he is. And then again, Bhagwan would go into uproarious laughter and say, Devaki, Godavari knows who this beggar is. You see, the glory of his name is well known to all of us by now. And we have been chanting it together. And please remember, no single nama goes waste. And especially, 100 people sing together. You utter only one nama at a time, but then 99 other namas join together, and therefore you get the benefit of 100 names. And again recall that the nama chanting not only helps the chanter, the individual, but also the people around and the world, and also this beggar's work. So, dear devotees of Bhagwan, dear friends, we shall go on chanting this blessed name more and more, offering it at the holy lotus feet of Bhagwan, and make our prayer, as usual, for the sake of the world and the country,